now on Module 8, which is taking risks. Now, there is no certainty that success will come when it comes to creativity. Every creative endeavor requires taking a risk. Developing creativity demands that you face your fears and act with confidence. Learning to accept yourself and ignore harmful criticism will give you the strength and confidence that you need to take the risks that creativity demands. So here is our quote. Creativity takes courage by Henry Matisse. Being confident, it is one of those things where you have to be careful because it's really shaky, right? Because on one extreme, if you're not balanced, you have overconfidence, which is your arrogance. And those who are arrogant are those who believe that they presume themselves to be better than others. And then you have those that lack self-confidence, and those are the ones who have self-doubt and do not believe that they're capable of accomplishing anything, that they are not the creative process in order to move forward. So in order to actually have confidence and to create confidence and be confident about yourself, you have to trust yourself. You have to believe that you are an achiever, that you are capable of creating your own circumstances towards the positive, towards the betterment, towards business, and towards self-development. So when you trust yourself, you also going to have to leave your comfort zone. So for all of those who believe that this is my square, I don't want to walk out of that, I don't want to reach beyond my parameters, you're going to have to do that. Because when you leave your comfort zone, that means you're going to try new experiences. That means you're going to take risks and have the courage to take risks. That means you're going to try something new. Maybe not every day, maybe every week. Try new experiences, right? Try new foods, try new things. But you have to leave your comfort zone. And we're going to talk more about that. And then you have to accept praise. So individuals ask me, well, how is that possible? Believe it or not, you can still show humility and accept praise. Because the whole ideal is to understand that when individuals see that you are trying to move forward and you're trying to achieve, then it's okay for them to give you a pat on the back. And it's okay to give yourself a pat on the back. Because every now and then we have to do that for ourselves, because that is going to help our mental process when it comes to imagination, visualization, creating new ideals. But not only that, creating new opportunities and endless possibilities. So part of being confident is to trust yourself, leave your comfort zone, and accept praise. Now, you don't want to force someone to give you praise, but when someone does, accept it with humility. Now, scared to fail. Now, we're all that whole fear of failure. In reality, we're all going to fail, but it's about picking yourself back up, learning from it, and growing from it, because it's a part of life. But you need to embrace your mistakes. That's a part of it. Not only that, you need to say yes to opportunities, because if you're afraid to fail, that means you're never going to take a risk. You're never going to have that courage to get outside of that paradigm. So when that happens, you just have to get back up. But you have to say yes to opportunities, because if you never take the chance, then you're not sure of your capabilities and what you're able to achieve. And then you want to accept advice and help. So if you have family and friends who are really positive and they're constructive when they give you suggestions, then definitely reach out to them, because you can't do it alone. A man is not his own island, because we are actually interconnected. So when you have individuals that's in your life that's important and they want to see you succeed, then you want to definitely reach out to them, because they can help you during your process. And now we are actually on Fake It Till You Make It. Now you may wonder, well, what does that mean? Well, it has been proven that when you start faking it, it's a concept, right? That when you start faking it, sooner or later, you start believing it. It's that whole self-fulfilling prophecy of knowing that I can achieve. I may not think so right at first, but if I constantly put myself into that mindset, then sooner or later my mindset is going to say, you know what? Maybe they can. Maybe he can. Maybe she can. Well, you know what? They probably can. Yeah, they can. And that's how you have to look at it. So fake it until you make it is one of those concepts that I didn't know about it for a long time. And then when I did years and years and years ago, I said it makes sense because that's training your mind to create a whole new thought process of how to succeed. So fake until to make it, here are some of the things you have to do in order to fake it to make it. You got to dress the part. You got to believe that you can do it. But when you go out there into your community, into that business environment, you have to show them. You have to demonstrate that you have the ability to do that, to succeed. So dress the part. But not only that, you want to relax and smile. You want to have that confidence about you, that you know what you're doing, even if you may not think so way deep inside. But deep inside, that's going to change over time. So it is about changing your mindset, right? And then you want to be aware of your body posture. You want to exude confidence. You want to feel like, yeah, I can do this, right? I'm capable of all things. Not, well, I'm not sure. Because if you don't believe in yourself, and individuals, when they look at you, how are they going to know if you can? So you have to be aware of your body posture, and you have to use appropriate vocabulary. That goes back to, remember we talked about reading 15 minutes a day? Because when you're reading books, of course those are fictional, but even when you start introducing new type of books into your environment, you're going to pick up new words, right? So use the appropriate vocabulary. So here we go. Fake it till you make it. Dress the part. Relax and smile. Be aware of your body and posture, and use the appropriate vocabulary. So, afraid to be judged. We're all judgmental every now and then, right? We are, especially with social media and things are coming left and right because we are in digital technology, right? So, with that, all of these things, and as they come by us, as they come past our computer screens or our mobile devices, we're constantly sending things left and right before we even think about it. So one of the things that you want to do is always assess how judgmental you are. Because when you're judgmental to people, they can also be judgmental to you. And when you are doing that, you allow yourself to be restrictive, just like we talked about with assumptions. So being judgmental is actually really keeping you so isolated because you believe that people have to think like you. And if they don't think like you, then they should probably not be in my environment. But reality is we live in such a diverse world that you're going to come across people from different cultures, different demographics, different religions, right? Different thought processes. So if you alienate yourself from them, if you believe that your way is the only way, you may want to assess that, right? Just like you may not like people judging you, you have got to be careful in the way that you judge others. So assess how judgmental you are. Look at yourself honestly. Is there something that I'm doing that's either adding to the situation, right? Or am I being one that's really evaluating first? So this is all a part of your reflection process. This is all a part of your self-examination process of being able to deconstruct and knock down those walls that often hinder us from moving forward, okay? These are our restrictions that we put on our minds from the standpoint of how judgmental we are. And then finally, value yourself. When you're going through all of this and you're starting to assess yourself and some of the things that may not be so beneficial towards your growth and your development, you always have to value yourself. You always have to believe that you can do it, okay? You always have to be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. The part of this is critiquing ourselves, but not to the point that we're so judgmental on ourselves that we stop valuing ourselves. Now here's our judgment activity. make a list of things you would do or opportunities you would take without fear of failure. So what would those be? And definitely reach out to me, Google Hangouts. So maybe if you can think of, man, if I could do this without the fear of someone judging me or me judging myself, I would do this. So I would love to hear your responses to let me know what would you do and how would you do it. And here is our case study. So Teresa, I'm an accomplished dancer. This is Teresa. Teresa was an accomplished dancer, but she never performed for people. She was afraid of making a mistake again, so she chose to only dance in private. Because what happened was, as Teresa became a dancer and she was dancing, then people started critiquing her. So after a while, she decided to go within herself. And sometimes that can happen even with friends and family, even if they don't mean it. But sometimes it does. Because sometimes that creative or that constructive criticism may actually be destructive criticism. So when we start to realize that sometimes the people around us may not, even if they don't try to be, right, may create an environment that may actually hurt us, or even vice versa, right? So we always have to be careful of what we say to others because we're not sure how it will influence them. So after making a mistake, she chose to only dance in private. Well, what happened one day, a coworker suggested that she perform in a televised talent show. So what if that coworker had not come around, right? Teresa would just feel like, okay, maybe I am a bad dancer. But because there was someone who offered her, support, then Teresa, what did she do? She took the ideal and she ran with it, and she decided to take a chance and perform again. And that's what she did. So just always be mindful of everything you do, from whether you're being judgmental towards someone else or they're being judgmental towards you, right? Because in the reality of everything, we cannot change other people's thoughts and feelings, but we can change our perspective on how we see them and how we connect and interact with them. So we're done with Module 8, and here is a recap. Being confident is a delicate balance that many people have difficulty keeping, right? So remember, you got to have that balance. You don't want to go to extreme with overconfidence because that turns into arrogance, and you don't want to go to the other extreme where that lack of self-confidence, because that turns into self-doubt. So remember that. Try to find that balance of confidence. And fear of failure is more damaging than failure itself. Yes, because if you are so afraid of that failure, which is going to happen, then you're never going to take chances. And then you're never going to gain the courage to believe that the more you step out and the more you believe, the more you are able to accomplish. So remember that. And then finally, the old saying, fake it till you make it, is actually sound advice. Dress the part, right? Remember, new vocabulary and all those things to help you get through this process. And here is our failure of often coincides with fear of judgment, right? So when you start judging yourself and you start judging others, remember they can also create boundaries, all right? So here is our quote. Creativity takes courage, from Henry Matisse. So we are done with Module 8. Definitely do your activities before we move on to the next module. And I'll see you Module 9. Have a good day.